Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series as well as Yambani Chronicles. And I'm joined once again by Jocelyn Short.
Hello.
She is a graphic artist and illustrator, creator of the Bears series, which we are anticipating for her releasing that. And we're also joined by Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
He's also a graphic artist and illustrator. He's creator of Eve of Insurrection and Eve of Reclamation. He also did the art and illustrations on Ancient Illumination graphic novels, as well as the Yambani Chronicles comic books. We're on issue 2 right now. Today is a catch-up episode for Ahsoka because we've kind of been MIA. So we're here to discuss the first. I think we were on episodes 3. We can go ahead and just go through the series as a whole, up to date, seeing as next week is the finale. So far we have 7 episodes of Ahsoka. I'm just going to give my little overview. The cinematography has been great. The action scenes have been great. I still believe there are too many member berries for folks. I think I've seen firsthand of, remember this, remember that, for everybody that's indulged in all the wide variety of mediums, Clone Wars, books, and Rebels that Star Wars has put out there. And if you have not partook of all of that media, I think a great many of the Easter eggs in this show is going to be flying over your heads, unfortunately, which I think in some ways can detract from a person's enjoyment of it. Sabine is a constant problem. She's continued to be a problem no matter what. I'm not seeing an arc really.
He's a problem. He's just a problem. He just messes everything up.
Yeah, Hera is for sure an enabler. She's enabling her to mess up and even still just trying to get Ahsoka to keep going along, and it just seems not to be getting any better. Hu Yang is hilarious if just for his deadpan delivery of he's Mr. Facts. He doesn't care about your feelings. You ain't got no force power. You're horrible. You wouldn't have been accepted into the Jedi Academy. And Ahsoka's like, you told her this? And he was like, yeah. Like, why is this? Is this even a question? Yeah, I told her that. She sucks as a Jedi. She would not be a Padawan.
You said what?
Yeah. The build up to Thrawn, in my opinion, was good. I'm still iffy on whether I like Thrawn or not.
Okay.
We have yet to see if he's worth the hype, in my opinion, because there is a lot of expectation. And what I mean by that, Jordan, you shaking your head.
Rod, he did some calculated things in episode 7. Like, I don't understand. Like,
you still don't see the gene. We haven't had our Darth Vader Rogue One moment, but with Thrawn.
But what does that look like? Just tell me what that's supposed to look like. But I don't know what it's supposed to. Like, you read the books, you would know what that looks like. When his giant Star Destroyer showed up, I was like, and the music started playing, I was like, oh, I was actually nervous for this.
I've read.
Like this. Yeah, I've read.
Heir to the Empire, and I read this book. I've read the original Thrawn trilogy, so I am well versed in Thrawn before he was introduced into Rebels and Clone Wars. My thing is, are we going to get that rote display of genius? Like, we've got hints of it thus far.
I mean, yeah.
We have not seen where he has just tactically destroyed someone yet in the midst, a quick minute, like it's a real quick battle that he just destroys through his strategy. And you're like,
we're not going to get it.
All right, I have a question. So This is interesting. Thrawn seems like his whole identity, or like what makes him who he is based on the strategy and being calculated. It seems like from a film perspective, we need to sit with him. We should have been sitting with Thrawn in the beginning or for much longer periods of time, because you need to really I feel like when we get a really good villain, we kind of get him sooner than later. And then like we get to watch him meticulously plan and craft things.
Yeah.
And when you speak to that, it is true. Like they like giving us nuggets. And I could see I see why now I see why it disappoints you, because it's like you gotta really sit, because they introduce him and he's like, he has a very nice soundtrack. When the music plays, when he shows up, it's like, okay, you're intimidating.
The stormtroopers chanting his name.
Yeah, his name. I was like, that was fire. Like all that was fire. And then it's like, in the first episode that he's introduced, is that episode 6?
Yes. Yeah.
You could tell he's like planning and calculating things with like obviously using Sabine as a pawn to find Ezra, that stuff. But that little nugget, then we get some more stuff on episode 7. So he's like, I see what they're trying to do, but I see that it's like it's not the most effective. So they probably should have rewrote that a little bit.
I definitely feel like, as someone who doesn't know anything about Thrawn, apparently they're, them talking him up, I was like, okay. When he was introduced, like when we first see him, I was like, he looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
He looks super cool. He doesn't seem all that, like, he seems imposing, but not as imposing as like maybe he's meant to be. And I guess you all are saying he's supposed to be this very calculated person, but when we meet him at episode 6, and then I think episode 7, he tells I forget the lady's name who like led them to him, but
Morgan.
Yeah,
Morgan Elspeth.
Yeah, and he's telling them, he's telling her about our troops are diminishing. She's only going to get to, I don't really care if they live or die, all this kind of stuff. And to me, that conversation and the fact, and also when he's first introduced, shows me that like he was really struggling. Like I don't know how much strategy.
We don't got enough troops.
Yeah.
We're a little scarce out here. We need to get off this star system. We get off this galaxy.
It seemed like he was hanging by a thread till he got there. So, I don't know how calculated. I mean, but people are saying he's a threat. And I think it's just the threat that he exists. But I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the Exile was doing pretty good because he, I don't know. All that to say, I don't feel like he was as imposing as maybe he's supposed to be, but I think he looked really cool. I feel like maybe fans were probably expecting him to feel like when you first meet Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
Because you see all of his trails of destruction prior, and you hear all about him and all this kind of stuff, and you see how he's affecting other people for a long time before you ever even see him. And then the music he gets is crazy, So I think maybe people were expecting that, but
I think it's not. I don't think it's a problem or an error on the show's part. I think the particular attributes that you need to show for this character is difficult to depict in the format in which we got him.
I knew you were going to say it.
We might, because they're leading up into a Thrawn film, so I think there's where
we're getting a movie.
Yeah, they're supposed to be getting. Dave Filoni's supposed to be working on a.
Oh, that's going to be really good.
A live action film with Thrawn, so they were probably going to get to see. What I'm talking about is with the initial book series, Colonel Palian, who's a part of the Empire, is under Thrawn, and Thrawn basically can go to your home world and study the artwork, and within minutes he'll devise a plan to get through your defenses and make you render your surrender immediately without firing a shot off. That's how smart and how much of a tactician he's supposed to be. And Colonel Palian can't figure out how he's doing this because he tries. He goes and looks at some artwork of some planet, and each time he's like, dude, I don't know what this dude sees in this painting and how he can make all these predictions and they come out exactly as he says. But that's the type of level of genius that he's supposed to be portraying. And I don't think we've had enough time with him to get that. So, and we're on the last episode coming up, episode 8's the finale of the show. So it seems like they're just going to be able to get back to the regular galaxy and then we go from there. But I don't know if he's going to be able to actually do anything. And like, if they elongate the episode and make it like an hour and 15 minutes, he's still not going to be able to have like some large scale battle for us to really get into things. But the buildup was there. My thing is, like I said with Vader, when we see him at the end of Rogue One, just like you were talking about, hearing about the destruction without seeing the person, we were all hearing about how badass Vader was, what he could do. But if you look at most of the film and stuff that we got, in the original trilogy, he was old and mechanical, so he was super slow in that fight scene. It was like the first time we got to see in live action Prime Vader, and it was like a section out of a horror film when he goes down the corridor of that ship and just dismantles everybody. They're crying and screaming, going crazy. The lights turn off. Vader shuts his lightsaber on. Music amps up, and then they end with him shaking his fist out of the landing bay as the Tantive 4 escapes barely. Like that was the first time we got to see Vader be Vader. So with all the hype that's with Thrawn, I want to get that same moment where we have some battle and it culminates in this like domination of the battlefield through his tactical prowess, and we see it and be like, oh, that's what everybody's been talking about, and why even through this exile in another galaxy, the stormtroopers are so fervently loyal to him still, where they're chanting his name. We can see that they're all like threadbare. That's a telltale sign, as you said, Jocelyn. They've been going through a rough ass time out there. They got red string holding their armor together. My boy's Grand Admiral uniform. It looked like he took like a sewing kit and stitched some parts of it together.
Listen, shout out to them though for doing that, because they said, you know what, we're falling apart, but we're gonna fall apart together in uniform. Like all the stitching looked the same across the board, across all of the stormtroopers. And I was like, you know what? Good for y'all.
y'all a team. Y'all following
Yeah.
code. Y'all on code. Good for y'all.
They
Yeah,
said
that was
you and I
hilarious.
TY. Okay.
Like when you see the top officer still has something a little wrong with his uniform, you know something's good when they're supposed to be very rigid in their military bearing, and uniform's supposed to look, just so, and they're just kind of looking ragtag. Even Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's still holding it together, but it's still like you can see some spots on his uniform where there are blemishes and errors.
So dirty.
Jocelyn and Jordan, did you both watch Rebels?
Yes. Oh, I feel like
the reason I'm asking,
I have
because I
a
was
lot of
going to ask,
emotions about this.
we haven't really talked about it, but what are your thoughts on Ezra? Because I watched a few clips of Rebels. I haven't watched the entire series, so I don't think I'm the authority to speak on how I feel about Ezra. I don't really know how to feel, basically.
All right. Being that I like just watched Rebels, I kind of initially watching episode 6, I kind of was like, I'm not getting Ezra vibes. But then in episode 7, the first watch, where Sabine and Ezra, they're with that weird, I'm gonna call them turtles,
Turtle slash crab people,
crab,
the Noti, whatever they are.
Yeah, yes, they're traveling with them, and you see, and those raiders, bandits pull up, and they got to fight them. I'm starting to see the kind of like relationship between Sabine and Ezra, and it feels like it's coming from a place of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And then like him even not offering, like it was kind of funny to see him like, no, you keep the lightsaber. Like it was kind of like very funny and kind of tongue in cheek, which kind of felt more like Rebels to me. And then to see him be like, nah, I'm good, and just use the Force was like, that felt very Ezra, because he doesn't typically play by the book. He doesn't play by the rules. He kind of like, he just does like just very unconventional things. So like, of course, this man is gonna fight with the Force and then end up taking the blasters and shooting other stormtroopers.
That's a callback to Yoda.
Oh,
because he says the Force is my ally. That's his exact line. He wasn't worried about having a weapon when I got the Force.
Yeah, so he was doing his thing. So he's growing on me. He's growing on me a little bit more. I'm trying to really understand the character and to try to kind of be present with the story, because it's like how could Ezra remain the same person after being in exile for like a long period of time? Like you can't expect him to be who we last saw.
Yeah.
I mean, he did go out like an OG though when he brought in the Purgils on that planet they were fighting on with Thrawn, and he was real OG about it, and that was cool. But
he looks just like his pops.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
That painting.
That makes sense. That also made sense. So he's growing on me now as episode 7. He's growing on. Jocelyn, how do you feel about Ezra's character not Just not having experience with him. Just how do you
Yeah.
feel about his character?
I mean, the whole time Sabine was doing all this stuff, I was just like, you better be worth it, man.
This man better be worth all this.
Yeah.
The bean was lying. That annoyed the hell out of me.
Oh
She
yeah,
wouldn't
she
even.
stayed lying to everybody. At least
just
she's a
don't-
reliable character, and we know she's
We
gonna
ain't
lie.
gonna-
Okay, all right.
You know we can't trust
I,
her.
I
Sorry, go ahead, Jocelyn.
Let me get my thoughts off about Ezra, and then we'll go.
Go ahead. My
I'm
apologies.
upset, but Ezra, I don't know, like when he showed up, I was like, he's really cute. Is that why?
You're like, is that why she's doing all this? Because she loves him. Yes. They're not just friends.
I was like,
There's something there.
He's really attractive. You know what? I mean, that's crazy.
You're like, I'd cross the universe for this man. Wow.
That was my first thought. I was like, okay, all right. You know, it's that them meeting up seemed nice. You know, they're friends. I understand they're friends, and Sabine is a very much ride or die kind of person. I don't have too much to say on I mean, he seems like a solid guy. I don't have too much context. You know, I am not sure why he got exiled. Because to me, I think I forgot that he got exiled.
He exiled himself.
He exiled himself. Well, he did this. All right. So I was trying to explain this. I didn't do a great job. So when they were fighting Thrawn on the planet, they were in the battle and
Wouldn't
Ezra
it have Lothal?
might have been. I don't remember. It was
That's what I had in the beginning.
Oh yeah, because wasn't he gonna blow up? Wasn't they gonna blow up Lothal or something like that?
Yeah. He basically exiled himself along with Thrawn to get Thrawn out of the picture. They went to another galaxy.
Yeah, I thought they killed this man. I thought this was gonna be instant death. So Ezra summons the Purrgil. The Purrgil show up. They like wrap around the giant star destroyer. Is that a star destroyer?
Star destroyer, yeah.
Star destroyer. So that's why when we see the Star Destroyer in Ahsoka, it's all messed up. That's from the Purrgils wrapping around the ship and then bringing that joint all across the galaxy. So they like warped this thing across the galaxy. And what was strange was because when Ezra summons the Purrgils, they like basically crash through the kind of cockpit or the main. I don't know what to call it.
They wrap around the bridge, and all the area you see on the Star Destroyer that has gold plating were basically holes where the Purrgil had basically
just wrapped around it
and wrapped around the ship to take this thing on a hyperspace jump. So he knew he was leaving and taking the threat that he saw to his world and the rest of the rebels out of the picture, basically.
I thought that was an insta kill, by the way. So, which this is what I think I was talking to Rod about earlier. Was like, I've never seen somebody in a show because it's like the Purrgils were wrapping around the ship and they were breaking through the windows to hold down Thrawn. So one would think if you're gonna hyperspace, any type of matter energy that's gonna pierce through that opening would in theory kill you. So I'm like, I thought it was instant death. I was like, oh. Ezra G. He just killed himself and killed Thrawn, and then we find out in this show, no, that did not happen.
Neither of them.
Somehow, the damn Purrgils created some like gravity shielding, protective shielding, and so Thrawn's still alive. So that was irritating. I was irritated at initially, but then I had to like let it go because I'm like, well, Thrawn is kind of cool, so I gotta eat that, but it's like, come on, y'all. That should have been death. That should have been death. Well, I would have killed both of them.
I can think that would be true for Ezra and Thrawn, but a lot of them stormtroopers on ship,
they could have been alive. The ones that were like behind the door, they could have survived.
I'm saying a lot of them could have died because all the holes in the ship that wasn't a part of their little safe bubble.
That too.
And that may have dwindled their numbers before they even got to the planet. Like
that too.
You lost half your people before you even arrived because they were just, out in deep space during a hyperspace jump and just got disintegrated on contact.
Man, I just want people to do that in Star Wars for no reason. But like, I'm gonna just go hyperspace and just kill everybody. Come on, man.
Yeah, I didn't mind Ezra. I had very little impression of him. I've seen clips. I've seen a few episodes to have seen him not. But and like you said, it's been so long. He's got to have been a different person by the time we see him now, 5 to 10, how many years later since he left. He's got to be a different person. I did like the fact that they basically made him up to look just like the picture of his pops in the animation. That was cool. But yeah, freaking Sabine just lying by omission. Like, we're not even going to talk about this. And not to mention the fact that, the stuff that I'm not telling you, we're about to feel the very real effects of these actions, like, instantaneously.
With Sabine, I'm just angry. All right, first things first, she owes Ahsoka an apology, at least. At the very least, she watched her die, okay, and then was like, well, you know what, Ezra's more important than any of y'all got going on, so I'm just going to go.
Yeah, Thrawn calls her on it. Like, you risked your whole galaxy on this one person.
So good.
That's why I was just like, he better be worth it.
He better be the chosen one, y'all. He better save the day.
I can't believe it. I'm like, what is this? And, and then, like you said, she's lying to him, and I'm like, why are you lying to him if he's gonna go with you, and you're trying to take him out, but like you probably can't. Like, what? Yeah, hello. And then Ahsoka comes, and she jumps in, and she does her thing, and then it's all nice and happy and smiley. And I was like, this is too smiley for me.
I was mad there was no more of a reaction from Ahsoka.
Yes.
She
should have hit her on the head.
I was like, you owe her an apology. Just at the least, the least you could do is just, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Maybe I agree with this.
My main disappointment, I think, with the show is that Malik ended up being a huge, like, nothing burger. The Inquisitor that ended up getting killed.
He was a Dathomir ghost.
They had all.
They're not going to answer the question. I'm just going to say he's a Dathomir ghost spirit.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting thing to see. Malik was a nothing burger. You guys probably haven't read all the books, because the Night Sisters of Dathomir, Palpatine hated them. And in fact,
I hate them witches.
Had them quarantined on the planet.
Dang.
Like, they were not allowed to get off planet. And this is not even canon anymore, because what I'm talking about is from a book called Courtship of Princess Leia, where basically Han Solo gets jealous of Prince Iceholder and wins Dathomir in a game of Sabak, basically a card game in Star Wars. And there's a power called the Happen Fleet. It's another basically very powerful planetary body or whatever, and they wanted to marry Prince Iceholder to Princess Leia to consolidate their power, and their society is matriarchal, so they were looking for a strong female leader. And at the time, I think Leia was like the chancellor, supreme chancellor of the New Republic. But basically what ends up happening is he ends up kidnapping Leia, taking her down to this planet to prove, like, hey, you're a princess, I'm technically a king, or something like, equal, because I own this planet. What they didn't know is the Empire had basically quarantined the Night Sisters, which were these force-wielding witches on the planet. And Palpatine thought so much of them that he basically wanted to force them to stay on planet, didn't want anything to leave or go in from that planet, and had like a little prison that was there. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see how the Night Sisters react once they come back to the galaxy. Will they still be under the sway of Grand Admiral Thrawn? Or will they just be like, you got us a free ride back. We about to do what we want to do.
We ain't here. They out here. Sisters. Night Sisters, they out here.
Yeah. I like the second. What did you guys think about that second duel between Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka when she finally breaks out the two blades and not the one where she got knocked off the cliff and bounced between the world?
Hold on.
Can we talk about that first?
The first
By
one,
the
the first
way,
duel.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
kind of glossing over what was a very amazing, a
Because
series of amazing things. Actually,
yeah.
let's start with the first one. Let's
Okay.
start there. Let's start there.
The first duel.
The first
Round
duel
one.
was
Fight.
one round, round one.
That was great.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's very samurai, so I was happy with what was happening. Sabine was useless, I think, as usual.
I'm really upset. I mean, I liked her 2 seconds better than I did when her hair was long. Like I liked her better, like just 2 seconds more with her haircut. But that's it. Like the rest of the show, her actions were crazy.
She stayed getting worked. That's the problem.
Easily. But Ahsoka's great. She's like, I really like her character because like when we see her in that first scene, that fight scene, the first fight scene with Balin, and unfortunately Balin won, and she falls off into the water. She goes through this
World between worlds.
Yes. What this always happens in every Star Wars thing. They go through like that kind of like liminal state of like being in another plane of existence, and they got to fight something. And so it was really nice to see Hayden Christensen's Anakin back. That was like, to be honest, I feel like that might have been the best episode because of, to be honest, like one of my favorite episodes. Because it's just not like that episode did a very good. Was that episode 4? Or was that 4 or 5?
5, I think.
Which one? The first one where they
we're
had
actually in the astral plane. Well, we're in the astral plane, and Anakin and Ahsoka are fighting.
I think that's 4 because I think she ends up getting knocked down in episode 3.
Yes,
and they get her back in 4.
Yeah. So, like in episode 4, just seeing like Ahsoka kind of battle Anakin was like dope. Like it was like, all right, we're looking at episode 3 quality fight scenes, and we're looking at Clone Wars. Like it was like beautiful, and then just the cinematography on that was like when she's kind of in that kind of astral plane, and then they go into like her first battle with Anakin, and like this just like colorful smoke everywhere. The clones, the troopers. Young Anakin in his armor that was directly from the Clone Wars show was like, yo, this is dope. And then when he comes back in his like episode 3 Revenge of the Sith fit, I'm like, oh, he gonna change. And when he had when she pulled out the red lightsaber and kicked her out of the smoke, I was like, good luck, Ahsoka. This is gonna be an interesting battle, but just all of that was just amazing. I'm like, please, more of this. And then the flashing between like Anakin and Vader, like that was just genius. Like her willing to choose to survive and not kind of kill him was just like a beautiful way of showing her kind of growth evolution. And somebody brought this to my attention that when she was fighting, when she's about to like kill him, the red lightsaber reflects in her eyes, almost makes her look like a Sith. And I kind of watched it again, and I was like, oh wow, her eyes got a little yellow for a second. So that was pretty awesome, like these small little details. But it's very beautiful to see her kind of come out of that kind of like death experience, and like even her overall energy change. Like she started out very like deadpan, like super hyper focused, but then like when she came back, she had a lot more like
she was like serene. It was like
she was at peace. She like smiled more. Very interesting. And then like even like her clothing changed. Like she started wearing more white, and I thought that was like
that was the Lord of the Rings effect, basically. Instead of Gandalf the Gray to Gandalf, we got Ahsoka the Gray, Ahsoka the white.
Yeah, we had to do it.
I don't know how much of this actually happened though, because it's in another plane of existence, and the fact that when she decides that she's not going to fight anymore, she literally drops one of her lightsabers off the bridge. But then when we see her come back and we see her fighting again later, she has both of her lightsabers.
Yeah.
How much of that was real and how much of that was just all done in this alternate dimension kind of in her mind that she just
it was all in the astral plane. It was that was all there. I think that was the intention. I also had a question like, man, these Jedis don't know how to die, because I'm like, I wonder how long she was like underwater, like drowning.
I mean, I feel like the point was that she did die. Like,
I'm like, she was dead. I'm like, she had.
If that's the case, then that's twice.
What? She almost died twice.
No, she did die. Remember,
Wait, what was? Oh goodness!
in Rebels, that's the reason the Mortis gods of the Force, why that owl follows her around, because she was given the life force of the daughter when she actually passed, and that's why that owl always follows Ahsoka now, because she's basically the representation of the daughter in the Immortus gods. And people are saying now, theorizing that Anakin has taken over for the dark side version, the son.
Brother, the son of the brother. Yeah, got you. Oh, that makes sense. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And in fact, I think in that show they were trying to make Anakin replace him then, but he wasn't ready, and they ended up leaving.
I remember him and Obi-Wan had to fight those two together, and they transformed into the bird and the bat. That was cool.
What you saying, Jocelyn?
No, I was just saying she don't got no more lives then. They all used up.
Why doesn't Sabine? Ain't you a Mandalorian?
What? Why didn't you?
Where your damn helmet? Like,
no, she just wants everybody to see her face. She wants to see her. Yeah,
it changed in the show. It's a big deal. You have to see it.
We know what you look like. Put that helmet back on. We don't want to see you, Mandalorian.
A good marksman in war is going to be just one headshot, and that's a wrap.
Look, man, I be playing Baldur's Gate, and I keep helmets off of some of my characters because their hair is too good, and it don't look good with him. So I understand.
But are there marksmen in Baldur's Gate that can take you out with a headshot?
Yes.
There has to be a ranger somewhere that can do that, right?
I agree. She needed something, but I feel like that's in the Star Wars universe. I feel like Sabine's character is like an evolution of Han Solo's character, the
gunslinger type?
Yeah, like.
But you do realize that Beskar was created to fight force wielders and people that had lightsabers, so you could block. That was a cool scene when Shin Hati tries to strike her, and she uses the Vaporance to block the lightsaber. Like that, all the Beskar armor is meant
for that,
to combat people with lightsabers and blasters, and you just run around with your little purple forehead open for everybody to shoot. And if someone decides to shoot it, it's going to be a wrap.
But I mean, I agree with you. I think her whole character archetype is like the Han Solo archetype.
She also don't be listening though.
Right. Yeah.
She's not.
Han Solo for the most part whoops ass though the whole time.
But they're both rebels. They're both this rebellious hot shot feel.
Exactly. I watched the talk with the costume designer for like Han Solo and like in the costume designer and the character designer, and they were talking about like the choices that went into like picking his outfit, and it's the fact that he doesn't really have armor. It's the fact that he, like he's just out here with this pistol on his hip. Yeah, just a shirt, just his pant, just very simple, because he thinks he's that guy, or he's supposed to be that guy who's just like, I don't need anything, I
don't need anything, and my son kills me.
I get that.
Threw me off a bridge.
Yeah, I would get that more if Sabine wasn't from the first few episodes getting worked by everybody that comes in past.
I agree with you. I don't think it was communicated well, but I just feel like I think that's what they were trying to do, was incorporate that feeling, of just like someone who doesn't care, is like just not so cautious, is willing to really tell people anything about what they are really about, and really they just aren't all that capable. Not saying that Han Solo is that, but
I just think that she's been getting work the whole time. Would be different, and that that Shin Hati is coming again. Like, you're gonna see this person again who just whooped you 2-3 times. I think next time that you see her, you be fully riddled and put on the whole armor of God when you go to fight this person that's been beating you every time.
I agree with everything you're saying, Rod. That would make sense for logical fighters like ourselves, logical folks like ourselves.
Put it on. Like, put on the armor, get some enchantments or something, whatever.
Get the enchantments. You gotta be buffed. You gotta be ready.
Yes.
But she's not trying to be ready.
She's not. She said, I'm out here.
Now, two of the characters we haven't really touched on a whole lot that I think are really interesting are Balin Skull and Shin Hati. And we see in episode 7, they're kind of on divergent paths. Like there have been a lot of speculation over what Balin Skull is looking for, but he knows it's powerful, some power beyond imagination. And he doesn't want to be the new Vader, basically, because that's what I think Shin is kind of going for. And because Balin lets her go, like, you go and be whatever you're going to be within Thrawn's empire. I'm going for something else. My path lies on a different direction than yours. And he doesn't try to stop her. He just tells her, don't be too eager for victory. If you get too eager for victory, it almost guarantees defeat or something like that he says to her. And like his parting piece of information to her as she goes on. And then he just like stays there. So I don't know if he's going after Abeloth or whether he's going for the dark side Zepho power that's there on the planet.
I saw this theory about Abeloth, and I was like, this woman is interesting.
I don't think that's it, though.
It's not going to be Abeloth?
No.
Then who is it, though? I want to know, because they got to show us.
It's probably the dark side Zepho, because there have been other breakdowns, heavy spoilers, and new rock stars. They have a YouTube channel. There's 2 different YouTube channels. There are Zepho glyphs on the buildings that we've seen in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order when you go to the planet Zepho.
Okay.
And there's basically the first Sith Emperor kind of thing, one of these Zepho that had built his tomb on the planet there. There are things that mention him in the glyphs. So I'm thinking the power on the planet may be something that links to this dark Zepho that's there. I don't know. But yeah, it looks like Thrawn's about to break wide. They're about to leave everybody, trying to strand them on the planet.
Getting out of here.
Getting up. Yeah, the one thing she doesn't have, time.
we got it.
Yeah, they pulled everybody.
Time in a hyperspace ship that will jump us all the way across the galaxy.
Yeah. Where do you think the Purgle went to? Like when they started going through the minefield, they just ghosted.
That made me. So when that happened, I was like, "Oh no, Purgles, no!" And then like them started to jump. I was like, "Get out of there, get out!" I was so happy they got it because I'm like, "Y'all not gonna make it. These mines are gonna mess y'all up." I don't know, but they got out of there. They went somewhere. They was like, "But we can't be here in this minefield. This elaborate, great minefield that Thrawn planned."
That was
wild. I was
very impressed with that minefield. Like
that seemed very calculated. So that's what I was gonna say. For me. I was like, okay, that seems like what a strategic,
that's what he was
highly
doing.
calculated person would do. Plant a minefield, waiting for his opponents to show up. It made sense. I was there for that.
I thought the whale-to-pusses were very cool.
Excuse me, run that back. What did you just say again? Could you slow that down? I caught it, but it was just very smooth. Did you say whale-to-pusses?
Yeah.
Couldn't just say space whales. Space whale-to-pusses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is what they are. That is actually what I know, Rod, your face. But that is what they are. They are whale-to-pusses.
I'm sorry, I shifted there. I thought about them because of the minefield, because they rode the whale-to-pusses in, or at least Ahsoka did in her ship in the whale.
In the mouth of the whale-to-puss.
In the mouth of the whale-to-puss.
Whale-to-puss mouth.
Yeah, that was awkward having them leave like that. I'm thinking maybe the ring around the planet is. I think that's all whale bones.
Yeah, it's all the carcasses because they said that they died there. And that was very interesting. Like, why are these like creatures like specifically going to this part of this planet to die?
Kind of like elephant graveyards, where they know when it's time to go. They.
But still, why that planet? No, but I understand the logic. But just what about that planet? Like, I wonder if like it would be a cool little like I don't want to say Easter egg or like some other nugget of like, well, there could be some entity that feeds off of them, or like them dying. But whatever.
I mean, we don't even know why they went to the planet that Thrawn was on in the first.
That's also didn't Ahsoka talk to them?
No, she said she didn't know what they were saying. She just stood in front of the whale-to-puss and just looked at it, and she said, "Let's go."
Oh God, she did say that.
And he was like, what did he say? She said, I don't know.
I don't know.
I have
Yeah,
no idea.
I have absolutely no idea where we're going.
I don't know where we're going. We're just here for the joint, which is very Star Wars. We're like, hey, we're going with the flow. This is what it's about,
Along for the
And
ride.
I was like, wow, this is crazy, because also Ahsoka was supposed to go back with your girl to like help her testify to not lose her job. I mean, she ended
Oh
up
goodness, we got to talk about that.
she ended up
Hera,
not needing her.
yeah,
But I was
that was a
like,
crazy scene there. This is very Keystone copy. Like no one knows what the hell's going on. They're having this pseudo court martial to see whether they're going to take her command away, and she ends up getting saved by C-3PO.
Sent by Leia, which was like
the senator is getting kind of bigoted against droids, and Chopper is not very happy. I don't understand what the hell Chopper's saying, but I understand he's cussing every time he's over there grunting. When he said we can't be taking evidence from a mere droid, and then Chopper, the dude, the X-Men probably had to put his hand and hold the droid back like he was going to jump over the balcony and do something.
he said, I'm sick of this. Okay,
You talking
I'm
to
sick of-
droids
I don't
like
have to
this?
sit and listen to this.
C-3PO though talking about I don't need to show you my, like, damn it, everybody knows who I am.
So you
I don't need to show you my identification.
No, C-3PO bossed up. I was like, whoa.
Thoughts?
said, I'm here with a message. Your boy was like, what is this message? And she was like, be quiet.
Yeah,
It's cool
and
to
then
see
basically
C-3PO,
Leia
I
saying
guess.
I sanctioned the mission, but none of y'all knew about it because y'all had a meeting without me, and I'm the head of the Defense Security Forces, and you shouldn't have had the meeting without me, basically. So she basically jumped the shark on the senator because he held the meeting and made a decision without her. So she's basically covering Hera's butt by saying she sanctioned it. But like, if she had
But
sanctioned
how
it,
did she know though?
how did she know what happened?
How did Leia know what happened?
How
Like
does anybody
that was
know
such a
what's
that's
going
such
on?
a weird. I don't know.
They have. Well, you know, they've met. You know, Hera and Leia and all them know each other. So
they didn't show it.
they
So
didn't show it.
kinda
There had to be some type
random.
of communication between them. Like, I'm in trouble. I'm about to go get court-martialed on Coruscant. This is what's going down, and then she gets that message.
And maybe this is a stupid question because I don't know enough. But you know, I know that people in the Star Wars universes be sending transmissions and stuff, right? Okay. And the whole time Sabine is looking for Ezra, and I'm like, all right, why couldn't he have let somebody know
Where he was?
where he was or that he was still alive? Like, I'm like, why was it so hard for him to just communicate?
Because there wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't
well-
think there wasn't normal communications between that galaxy far, far away and the regular galaxy. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's how they set it up. Like
They
made
set it up
seem like
that
they was
Morgan Elspeth has only been able to communicate because they're communicating via some dark magic, Darth Mirror witch way, and it's the reason why she's been able to communicate with Thrawn from the beyond. So I don't think regular communication, he couldn't like send up a kite and let them know that he was all good in the galaxy. So it was all guesswork on Sabine and them's part. I didn't understand how they couldn't find Ezra when it took them 2 seconds to find Sabine with the Darth Mirror witches. They put the little red triangle Joan on and was able to see, and Ahsoka, they was able to find Ahsoka like this. But
with the triangle thing, that was cool though.
yeah,
I don't think
Dathomir
anybody was
magic.
pressed about Ezra though, which is weird. Like people were pressed about Sabine because she, you know, or I don't know why people were pressed about. I guess Ahsoka was pressed because she was just like, well,
If we find Ezra, we can find Sabine though.
yeah,
I think Thrawn was pressed, but that was part of the reason why he let her go. Is because she's basically doing the legwork for
Yeah,
him.
because he did say he wanted to find Ezra. He was about getting Ezra,
And
he got to kill Ezra. I think.
Yeah, he couldn't find him supposedly before then. But I'm like, you find the other people on the planet, and then within the atmosphere approaching the planet, you find Ahsoka really quick with the witches. You find Sabine really quick, and so they found them quick enough where they could actually send people, pinpoint where they were, and sent the red like samurai bandits and Shinhati. They sent them directly to where they were, and then he sends backup with the
drop
I
ships.
forget what the TIE. They're not TIE fighters, but the little like drop ships that come out.
Yeah, the drop ships.
They sent them out, so they knew exactly where they were after a while. But it just seems like just lately they were just able to find people, whereas the whole time he was out there just going from different campsite to campsite with these crab hobos
Hey.
that were just moving the trailer park.
Hey, my
So
man's
what-
Jesus. He was Jesus out here. Like,
My
come on, y'all. He masked his
Yeah.
spirit. I mean, masked his. What do they call it? I don't.
His
I'm trying
presence
to
in the
use.
force.
Yes, thank you. He probably masked it. Like, he gives me vibes like he would have figured that out.
my impression of
Sorry,
Ezra
okay.
when he first came on the screen, because I didn't understand why he was exiled or whatever. I didn't know what happened. I just knew he was gone. And Sabine went to look for him. But so my first impression when he came on screen, I was like, what is this? Is a Simba story arc. Like Simba
He's been out living his Hakuna Matata
yeah,
life. Hilarious.
Said a Simba story arc.
I was like, what
That's
is
funny.
this movie?
Y'all are ridiculous. Oh, I have a question. Did anyone notice? Did he have dog tags wrapped around his neck?
No, I think he
Or
made,
was that
he made
chainmail?
chainmail. He had made his own chainmail.
Okay, I looked up. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a
Yeah,
second.
there's been a theory
Right?
about that going on, but I don't think stormtroopers necessarily would have had dog tags. If they
Oh,
did,
okay.
they'd have different little characters on them.
Gotcha.
They more
I was
likely would
like,
have
man,
been
my
white
man's
and not
made a chain.
silver.
I was nervous. I was like, I was gonna give him more points. I was like, wait, was this man out here fighting stormtroopers and like took the dog tag and turned the chainmail? I'm like, yo, he's a beast. But I jumped the gun on that.
That's why he's like, I don't need no lightsaber. I've been doing
Right.
this
That's what
with
I'm
my
saying.
bare
Like, I don't
hands.
need none of this. I've been
Did
killing
he
them.
Mark all
melted
these.
down the dog tag and turned him into chains?
That would be fire though. Kill them
That's
all, turn them
great.
into chains.
So we got one more episode to culminate everything coming up next week, Tuesday. And I guess we'll see how things end up with Thrawn. Obviously, we know Thrawn is coming back to the galaxy. Like I said, I don't know how much they can do in
I
50
think what
minutes to an hour. What happened?
I was gonna say, whatever the gist, like the big impact of whatever Thrawn is gonna do, I feel like if you're saying there's gonna be a movie, I think we'll see it in the movie. I don't think we'll see it in the finale.
That was also a question I was going to ask. Is the movie going to be a prequel or a continuation of what we saw in Ahsoka?
I think it's
Is
supposed.
that-
This is basically the launch pad for the film. I believe that's what they're
Wow.
ramping up to
Mm.
this live action film.
Well, that could be cool.
What are your thoughts overall on what we've seen so far? I've seen people be upset.
Shout out to Eric Cooper for canceling
know,
Disney
right?
Plus.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Get this, sonny. Eric canceled Disney
Oh,
Plus.
God.
Posted
I need
receipt.
this.
That was funny. I was like, hey, this is the hill you want down. I respect. I gotta respect it.
He said, "I hate this. Don't talk to me about it." This is
Don't talk to me about it. Overall, oh gosh, I was gonna say I really like the show, but then there are things that really get on my nerves. Mainly Sabine.
Yeah.
But outside of that, for me, outside of this, like the show right now is like maintaining what would have maintained a solid 8.5 if it wasn't for Sabine's stupidity. And she is officially. I feel like I said this to myself. She's like literally just a plot device. Like her
She
character, she's literally a plot device. I'm like, this is dumb. So she really like she knocks the show to like a 7.5 because she just keeps doing these dumb things that just push the story along instead of it having this natural progression or even like these decisions making sense. Or even just I would have been fine if somebody just kidnapped her. Been like, that's outside of your control, Chief. You not giving away the star map and being dumb. Like
that whole
I would have
so crazy. I was just like,
I want them to kick her out. That's what I want.
agree with that.
I still think
I
would
want-
have been fine if she died. This would
I
have made
want
the show even
Ahsoka
better.
Same.
and
I
Hu
would've-
Yang. I want Ahsoka and Hu Yang to have a meeting. Be like, yo, we talked about it. You is a Mandalorian. Go be Mandalorian.
Go with your people. Go with your people that I slaughtered. That I slaughtered
We
in
got
the
a
Clone
whole
Wars.
new cousin. Your girl Bo-Katana's over there. Give me that lightsaber. You won't be needing
Give
that.
me
You're
that.
not worthy to wield the dark saber since you gave it up before when you had it. Just go be a Mandalorian. Stop taking your helmet off. Put your helmet back on, please. Yeah, go do that. Here's your jetpack. Go do that. Because this ain't you ain't about that Jedi life.
But I'm cool. My hair is purple.
I'm cool.
Hu Yang is still my favorite though. He's like,
he's
if
still-
I would have rated all the Padawans and their capabilities in the forest, you'd be dead ass last. Like, damn.
I
Sounds
want
like-
Hyung to get his own lightsaber. Like, it'd be really nice if he's a robot wielding lightsabers.
You
That's
want a
what I
General
want.
Grievous moment with
Yes,
him?
I do. Yes, I do. Come on now.
Yeah, we'll see. One more episode and see what they give us, see what they lead into with this film and the other projects they got going on. I like it overall. I think I'm right there with you. I think I give it about a 7. There are certain things, Sabine mainly too, that kind of irk me, that knock it down from being an 8 or a 9. Because like I said, we don't get enough of some of the more interesting characters. I think Balin and Shin are very interesting to me in their take, because mainly because they seem to be striding the line. Like, they're not Jedi,
We don't know.
but they act like it sort of sometimes, because they have orange lightsabers. She still got a Padawan braid. Like, he passed down some of the dogma that he says later that he disagrees with, the rigidity of the Jedi, which he thinks led to their downfall. And I really want to see what he comes up with, that think he's going to basically reset the universe. It's kind of what he's saying. Like, it's a cycle. The Empire falls, the Jedi and the Sith rise and fall. And it's just a cycle. I'm about to end that. Like, how, Sway? He about to hit the Force reset button and everything. All this is going to go away and he's going to start fresh. Yeah, I'm curious to see where that goes and where can it really go, because sadly we know that Ray Stevenson, the actor that portrays Balin, passed.
Yeah.
So we can't really even have a jump off point for that within the films, because that actor, unless they replace him somehow. But I really like that actor, so I don't know how you do that in mid game. Yeah. Did you give it a rating, Jocelyn?
I feel like for me, the show is somewhere like solidly between a 6 and a 7, only because I just don't have all of the context of all these other characters, and so they're not that interesting to me. The strongest performance to me is Ahsoka, and like her robot companion. I like him a lot. I like them together. I feel like those are the best performances in the show, and I feel like they really carry the show along, in my opinion. But everything else is okay. It's not bad, but it's not super interesting. It's not super exciting. You know, like it felt a lot like watching Dune, kind of. You know, because it was like
a lot of you didn't understand.
Yeah, like, you know, they have a lot to set up in the first one, and it took a long time, and like it just felt like that. I mean, obviously a lot of people already know about these characters and stuff, but it also just felt like I'm waiting for things to happen with these characters, and it's not, because I guess there's already kind of expected knowledge I'm supposed to already know about these people that makes them exciting already, and I just wasn't feeling it from them. So.
And that, I think, is the biggest problem overall with the show. And I think a couple episodes I discussed that I felt that was going to be a problem, because I witnessed that within my own household with my wife watching, and her kind of observing me out of the corner of her eyes as something pops up on screen. And like I said, I'm doing a Leonardo DiCaprio where you're pointing at the thing because you recognize it, you're getting excited, and there she's looking at me like, I don't know why that excites you, but I'm glad you're happy. And I knew that even though that was just a small perspective, because I'm just using her and I in my microcosm of the audience in general, but I figured she wasn't the only one that would feel that way.
Yeah, just my impression overall, like the show to me felt very quiet a lot of times. You know, which is okay, you know, because like the scenes were doing what they were supposed to do. They were giving me information, taking me from one thing to the next, you know. So like all the information with Thrawn, the people trying to get to Thrawn, the mercenaries in them. I was like, all right.
What was the show before this with the spies in Star Wars? We just had it.
Andor.
That's what this to me is the reason why Andor works, is because you didn't have to be clued in.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Everybody kind of starts.
We were
off
all
on
in
the-
there together.
Yes, people. Everybody starts off on the same footing. We're being
Mm.
introduced to this character who's only been in one film, and then some kind of ancillary characters, and you know they don't make it, but everybody that was along for the ride on Andor had the exact same place, kind of. You know
I
what
mean, it just felt like, and I don't know specifically how they could rectify this, but it just felt like I really wish we could have been given more reasons why a lot of these people are cool. Like
Mhm.
why I should care about these people aside from what you're just telling me. I just felt like there was a lot of telling, not a whole lot of showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, same thing with they keep doing that. A lot of that actually.
Mhm.
I think it's still a part of it is the risk averseness of mainstream media. They don't feel they can do something wholly new because they don't know if people are going to gravitate to it. So they have to have these either characters, tropes, themes, and things that has to be in everything to try and string the audience along. Like, hey, you like Rebels? You like Clone Wars? Did you read the books? We got something for all of y'all. Just come look at this cool stuff. But I think they're afraid that they do something wholly new without any of that attached to it, that people won't gravitate to it. And I think they're wrong. If it's done well, I think people will still gravitate because it's in that universe. It's
Yeah.
really cool. The first few episodes of Andor were really cool to me because it was like the most Star Wars media that like could be out there, because you didn't see any stormtroopers, you didn't see any other Imperials, you didn't really see any rebels because the rebellion was just being formed. It was just stuff happening out in space where these people were trying to get some stuff done and get some information and whatnot. That was it. It was like a mystery that they were going through. And so everybody was kind of included in that. There wasn't any esoteric information that, I mean, there were still Easter eggs, but it wasn't as deep as what we see here with Ahsoka. Like, I could see somebody being totally lost if they didn't read any of the books, didn't watch either Clone Wars or Rebels, and just coming into this fresh, like, I just want to watch this TV show. What are they going to get out of it versus the people that have at least had some experience with those mediums? I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, to be quite honest with you, I enjoyed watching it, but I don't know if I would have watched this on my own without this podcast.
Yeah.
Not just because like the first episode, or just like I may have watched the first episode, but like the rest, I don't know. Like it just, the way that they have it going is just not super engaging. Like when the lightsaber fights are going on, when people are fighting, that's great.
Yeah.
But everything else between there is just kind of okay.
We better get a smorgasbord of action and everything. Tactical genius, Jedi on pseudo Sith, ass whooping, Night Sister, magic, craziness.
Want it all.
I'm hoping this show goes out with a bang.
Or even just more engaging characters.
Yeah, I like
characters, more engaging dialogue.
We're at the end. We're at the end, Jocelyn. They've already burnt that bridge of giving us engaging dialogue and characters. What? That's good. Good luck with the next series.
Yeah.
Give us that.
Yeah, you're right.
They just better make it cool. They better make it epic. Just do something epic, Disney Plus.
Go out with the bang, and it better be a really enticing send-off to get people frothing at the mouth for this film. Basically, because if it comes out like a wet fart and no one's it's not gonna build hype for the new film. People are gonna be panning it online. Some people are anyway, but I think that just goes with the fandoms of any mainstream. People are gonna love it. People are gonna absolutely hate it because it's not what they envisioned it to be. I'm not necessarily upset with it not being what I envisioned it to be. I just think there's some things they could have executed better, things they could have done better with the characterizations of what we got, so that we are more understanding to some of the characters. Because I don't really understand what Sabine's overall plan is. There doesn't seem to be a plan. She's just doing stuff. And that's like, if you're supposed to be a cool, calculating warrior, you don't just go out there and just do stuff. Just
her whole thing is, I'm mad at you, Mom, and I'm running away. That's her whole thing.
I'm mad at you, Mom. I hate you,
She's
Mom.
forever the angsty teen.
I'm running away.
Like, how are you always that character? Like, come on now. But whatever. Let's stop talking about Sabine. We know we don't like her. Goodness gracious. We know she's annoying. God.
Yeah, put that damn helmet on.
They
Well-
can't. They're gonna put her on the posters when you go see the movie. They're gonna put her on the posters.
I
Yo,
don't
if
think
she
she's
dies
making
in the
it.
movie, that would be great. If they actually
Hilarious.
kill her in the movie, like
That'd
that's
be
the
so
first thing.
mean.
That's the first thing Thrawn does. He's like, "Let me kill Sabine. Let's wrap this on up, please,
That'd be-
Disney." Well, no, I'm not gonna. No, we'll see. I would love to see that. I would do it. But
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going on with these night troopers. I guess they're calling them. So they've got the gold plated. Enoch's got the little gold face shield, and I don't know if you've seen that some of the helmets are put together with gold, like it almost the way that Kylo Ren did after he busted his helmet, where he pieced it back together with the red
Mhm.
soldering. But they've got gold inlay in some of their helmets. You saw them carrying the caskets out from the tomb or the catacombs of the Night Sisters. Whether they're going to be like
oh yeah, I was wondering what
Dathomir
that was.
zombies when they get there to replenish their numbers since they lost so many on the trip over. We don't know
That
what
would be
they're gonna do.
fire.
But yeah,
That's a lot to wrap up in one episode.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to wrap up, and I guess we shall see what happens. Appreciate
It'll
y'all.
probably be a whole hour and a half.
Yeah, it will. That'd be dope if they do that. We'll see. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to discuss these things with me. All of you all that popped in on the live. I want to upload this episode of the Askari Cast podcast to the site. There will be links in the description of the episode with all of our websites in case you're interested in either my books, Jordan's Comics and Art, or Jocelyn's Art and her comics soon to come out. So check that out. Appreciate you all listening each time we upload. Don't forget to go, if you want to get your workout gear for all you fitness-minded nerds out there, go to toughwraps.com and get you some wrist wraps, some weight belts, and things of that nature, t-shirts. Jacked Writer, JACKEDRWRITER. Jacked Writer is the code for a discount code for 10% off. Help the channel out. Appreciate you all, and we will talk to you all either next week or the week after, I think.
See ya.
So, peace.
Peace.